Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. I want to dive into the Ousmane Dembele situation at Barcelona because I think it's fascinating and I'm intrigued to know how you guys feel about this one, because I think there's so many little elements in play and it's one where you could get kind of really angry at it if you wanted to be, and it's all sort of about money, and of course that's life, isn't it? But for Ousmane Dembele, who, let's remember throughout this, went to Barcelona for 105 million, something that was an amount that was going to go up to 135 million pounds, and it's obviously not gone very well. He's had a lot of injuries, and now he finds himself in a position where Barcelona are saying to him, sign a contract, sign it on terms that are reasonable, or we're going to sell you now. We're going to sell you in January. I'm going to give you the context of all of this, and then I'm going to try and break down the sort of panicked predicament of all of these guys, okay? So first of all, Barcelona went to Ousmane Dembele and said to him, we want you to sign a new deal. Because I think for them, they don't want to go out and sign new players. He'd had a difficult period in his career. He was injured even at the time in those initial talks in July. And they felt that they had that element of power. And throughout this, there's so many little swings in power within it all. But both are on very, very shaky foundations in terms of having that power. So Barcelona, of course, were the first to move and go, yeah, look, you're a great player, an exciting player, still young, 24, 23, I would imagine at that age, at that time. Sign a deal. He didn't want to sign a deal because he wanted to get to January, because that would swing the power in his favour. Because at that point, he was probably still wanting to see what is going on with this Barcelona team and squad. Who's going to be the manager? Remember, Ronald Koeman, of course, was the manager at that moment in time. It's now Xavi. There's this new, exciting, also, again, precarious situation where you've got someone like Joan Laporta suggesting that Barcelona are back, in the words of Rio Ferdinand, and that they can compete with their rivals. Let me show you this. But when it got to January, this is when you need to start having these conversations. And I also think with this, a lot of the time, it's not the blind leading the blind, but it's the agent leading the player, quite clearly. And so with that in mind, they're going to show as much strength as they can to get as much money for their client as possible. But the fresh demands that were put forward, if this is to be believed, were pretty tasty for a player that has had so many injuries, currently has had 6 appearances in La Liga, hasn't scored a goal either. With those fresh demands, it suggested that Dembele wanted 30 million signing on bonus. Yeah. 50 million euros to be given to his representatives in fees, plus 35 million in wages over the duration of his contract. Barcelona reportedly viewed those demands as crazy. Maybe that's not the word they specifically used, but it was a play from Dembele suggesting that I know my worth, make me the guy, I want to get as much money as possible, because if I walk, I can get loads of money elsewhere. Or so he thought. We'll come back to that as well. Then a few things start happening in January. Ferran Torres signs for Barcelona. I think this is another thing that has wound up both probably the agent and Ousmane Dembele himself. This is a player who can play on the right wing, who can play through the middle as well. Very similar to Dembele, certainly competition for Dembele as well. That's angered Dembele, clearly. And that's why he's not signing this deal, because if he's going to kind of commit to them, he's first of all got to get the money that he wants, I guess, or he will go, I get it, you haven't got a huge amount of money right now, but this is Barcelona, you have huge prestige, you're back, you've got Xavi back in the fold as well, and maybe I owe you a little bit here. You've probably paid me pretty well up until now. Yes, I'm 24, but I want to go and be somebody. But when Ferran Torres comes in, there's that competition there, and I think there's a feeling that he doesn't really like that. So he's now, dragging his feet when it comes to the situation. Ferran Torres was almost not even able to be registered because of the situation in La Liga, where it's a 1-to-4 rule, where you need to be, if you want to be signing someone and you're in the amount of debt that Barcelona are in, you have to be willing to show that you're trying to reduce costs elsewhere. And it looked like that wasn't going to be able to be done. And Dembele's getting confused between going, hang on, are we big hitters here for the most competitive signings out there? Or have you not got any money? The biggest problem here is the fact that La Liga aren't allowing them just to spend their way out of it. again, which is something I applaud personally. So the changes were made because all of a sudden, Coutinho's gone to Aston Villa. 65% of his wages are off the wage bill up until June. You've also got Umtiti, who they were able to kind of jig around his contract and allow them to register Ferran Torres. So this now leaves Dembele in an awkward position where Barcelona almost kind of have an element of power back where they can go, no, come on, sign the damn thing if they want him to, but again on their terms. And what they're trying to do is set a deadline. Let me show you another article, because it's, first of all, there was an ultimatum put forward from Xavi himself, who's gone, sign it or we're going to sell you. That's of course come from on high, but also, you know, he wants the best amount of money or most amount of money available to him to move forward and build up the squad. But there's almost like a smoking out here from Barcelona suggesting that, you know, it's on him, it's his fault. And putting that out into the press, I think is really, really fascinating. So here are some of the quotes. Because yes, there was that initial ultimatum from Xavi saying he wanted him to stay, and now they want to force a departure. Of course, he's only got 6 months left on his contract as well. And today, 20th of January, with 11 days left in the window before the end of his contract, it's obvious that the player does not want, let me scroll that up, does not want, where is it, to continue and is not committed to our future. Really putting it on him. Allcott said, in that scenario, he and his agents have been informed that he should leave immediately because we want players who are committed to our project. Therefore, we hope to transfer him before the 31st of January. We started conversation with Ousmane and his agents back in July, more or less. In all this time, these 6 or 7 months, we have spoken, we have had dialogue, we have made various offers. We don't know if those offers are good or not. Oh God, I've done it again, haven't I? There you go, bosh. We looked at ways that he could stay with us. All those offers were turned down by his agents. The fact that he is not in the squad is no more a consequence of this whole process. The conclusion in sporting terms, as evaluated by the coaching staff, is that we don't want players who are not committed. It's not the club that takes this decision, the coach does. But he has all our support and we think it is an entirely coherent decision. I mean, how many coherent decisions have Barcelona made in the last few months? I mean, do me a favour, I'll be honest. But this leads me to today, the situation right now. And what does Ousmane Dembele do? Because I think Barcelona would almost let him go, I guess, for a couple of million and just get him off the wage bill, because the ultimate thing here is to reduce the amount of money that you're spending to adhere to what La Liga want. But for Ousmane Dembele, does he have to go? Is he forced into going? What I think from these comments and these quotes is that this is a piling on of pressure on a young man that when it comes to injuries, I think football fans and the wider world, the press as well, you start to turn on players and suggest that they want to be injured. Now, is he the best professional? I have no idea. But no one wants to be injured. Do you know what I mean? But with this pressure that's being applied to them, the next steps are as follows. Ousmane Dembele just waits for the next 5 months, makes life very difficult for himself in terms of wanting to get into the World Cup squad for France, or he makes a move, but if he makes a move, he's rushed into probably taking wages that he doesn't want. And so it's one of those where, again, I think we are, you know, the bulk of people that watch this channel are adults, and so there's an understanding that you've only got so much time to make as much money as possible. So you need to be careful with that. So when you come to the end of a contract, and he's not the only one here, there are so many players coming to the end of their contract. You've got a situation here where you've got a player who, at 24, this is probably, it's very close. This one and the next contract are the two biggest contracts of Ousmane Dembele's career. From here in, right? After that, you know, if you do 4 years, 28, you do another 4 years, 32. So he wants to get as much money as possible, hence the crazy demands to almost smoke out where Barcelona are. And the truth is they don't have the money due to the fact that they've spent too much money on him in the past, amongst other players. And so he's got a very, very tricky decision to make. You know, does he just want to play football and get out there? Then you look at the other sides of it. Barcelona, they're trying to rush this through very, very clearly. It is not subtle in any way, shape or form, which highlights to me that the panic that still exists within Barcelona as a football club, they're not back just yet. They've got a long way to go. And then the final thing is other clubs. With other clubs, in part of their negotiation, they're going to have to go, well, you know, if you want to come now, we've already just paid this money for the transfer fee. You're going to have to take lower wages, or, you know, or vice versa. Because I think they're not going to give much money to Barcelona anyway, because they know what a mess this is. So who touches him? And who touches a player that wants outrageous wages and hasn't been fit for long enough? There's not many clubs. Chelsea linked with him, Spurs linked with him. These could blow up in your face and be an absolute disaster in terms of wasting a huge amount of your wage bill on someone like Ousmane Dembele. And Newcastle, of course, he can deal with the wages. That's fine. But again, Newcastle can't spend everything. They can spend as much as possible, but financial fair play comes into it again with them as well. So he is in a very, very tricky position. Now, you guys might know much more on this than I do, but I just thought the context of all of it was fascinating. I thought you might be excited or intrigued, by understanding the situation here. And I'd love to know what you would do. You know, you've only got so many years in your career. You are injury prone. What do you do? Do you wait and go, look, if I can get into the World Cup squad, then great. If not, so be it. I'm safeguarding myself for life. And if you're one of those other clubs as well, does anyone go near him? Really tricky. Really, really tricky. Let me know how you feel about this one. Barcelona, I think they want to wash their hands, but they want it done quickly so that they can make as much money or alleviate as much money as possible. Fascinating one. Absolutely fascinating. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video up till now, then please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button as well. And most importantly, if you have subscribed already, please do consider hitting the notification bell. I think it's only about 12% of you guys have hit the notification bell. So if you haven't, please do consider hitting it, because it allows you to watch the video as soon as it comes out, which makes the video do better in turn, which is always great for myself. So there you go. Check out the other videos on the channel, and I'll speak to you guys very, very soon.